Hello everybody and welcome back to the channel. It is Coach Fury here and we are back today with the latest episode of our Let's Play series of the Chicago Bulls in Draft Day Sports Pro Basketball 22. And well, how have we got to this point? Well, we're in the playoffs. We've had a fantastic season run this year and well, let's get into it and we'll talk a little bit about the next matchup in the second round. So as you can see, as we go to the schedule probably, actually no, let's go to the playoff bit, that's probably easier. Let's have a look. So as you can see, we managed to knock out the 8 seed Toronto Raptors 4-1, and that's it guys. We are up against our previous nemesis of the Eastern Conference through this entire Let's Play series, the Atlanta Hawks. The 4 seed managed to get through in 7 games against the Orlando Magic. And well, it's going to be a tough one again, guys, and we'll have a little look and break down that matchup in a little bit. But let's have a little look at some of the other second round matchups because they're quite spicy this year, to be honest with you. We have the 76ers up against the Hornets in the second round of the Eastern Conference. That is going to be a fascinating matchup. I'm really looking forward to seeing how that 76ers team does, which is pretty much still intact from the 76ers we would associate in real life now, and the Hornets have obviously a little bit of a slightly different team in the sense that they've got quite a few different players, and let's have a quick look and see how they shape up as well. Just to give you a bit of a sense of that one, I mean they've got a slightly different roster to probably what you would see normally. I mean they've got LaMelo Ball. Obviously, but they've got the likes of Porter Jr. is probably their big piece in the post, but he's out for 3 days, it looks like. But then you've got Tyrese Halliburton, who's developed into a phenomenal player as well, to be honest. He's jumped around the league a lot, but he's actually developing some nice skill sets. So, I mean, that's going to be a really interesting matchup because I think the Hornets are a fairly new team that has come through and actually had a really, really good season. They made some mid-season trades I think we've talked about on previous episodes, but that's going to be a really fun matchup to watch. And then on the Western Conference side, we've got the Jazz, who were a number 1 seed, but probably not the Jazz that really was the team that was driving forward. And I thought they'd be a real huge threat this year. But they made a mid-season trade to pick up Butler, I believe, and started to struggle off of that and kind of only really just sort of scraped themselves through in the first round against the Grizzlies. Up against the Pelicans, who we know have got Williamson and Levine. And then the Thunder Warriors is going to be a fun matchup as well. Warriors are pretty much still intact, but the Thunder, a little bit of a new dynamic team as well. But that doesn't matter for us, guys. We have got to focus on our matchup today and really have a look at who we're playing. So, the Atlanta Hawks are going to be a really tough team for us to beat. I mean, on paper, I think we've said this before when we've played them, they're not that good a team. I mean, they still have the likes of John Collins, who's just a phenomenal post player, and Clint Capella, who is still a really, really good defensive rebounding sort of centre for them. But then they're obviously led by probably the league's best scorer, in Trae Young, probably the league's best point guard at this point, it's fair to say as well. And it is going to be really difficult to try and just stop him from scoring 36 points a game. As you can see there, he's just exploded in terms of his performances, in this Let's Play series. I mean, he's just been phenomenal. That shooting chart is just something I've never seen that good ever, to be honest with you, in any Draft Day Sports Pro Basketball game. So we've got a real tough matchup. I think it's fair to say, though, that we're in a good place. We have everyone healthy apart from Noel, but the main rotation is still intact, still looking good. Peyton, Trent, Leonard, Clark, Carter, and Jackson Jr. are kind of the mainstays. And then McConnell and White will just fill up a bit of the bench place. So in terms of strategy, what are we going to do? I mean, when we've played the likes of the Hawks before, we have gone with a slightly different defensive strategy. And we have previously gone with like an attack strategy, trying to reduce Trae Young's 3-point shooting ability. And really just, accept the fact that we'll lose a bit of the interior presence. But the question we have for this Let's Play series, for this episode today, really against the Hawks, is do we want to go down that route? Because, yes, Trae Young is a phenomenal outside shooter, and he will probably put up a really good volume of threes in every single game. But John Collins is the one that I am particularly worried about in terms of our performances, really, because when you have a sort of a dynamic point guard who can score from range and score from pretty much wherever you put him, let's not beat around the bush, wherever they put him, apart from the left hand side, it looks like he's going to put up stupid numbers. John Collins as well, not a great mid-range shooter, but also a very good outside shooter as well. So we have to balance between allowing those outside shots, but also allowing that inside presence. And I think to begin with for this series, we'll see how it plays out. It's going to be a really, really tough matchup for us. I'm going to stick with passive for this first game. I like what he's brought to us in terms of defense. We just protect the drive, protect the paint, protect drives, protect that post, and say, look, if they're going to beat us from 3-point range, that's perfectly fine. We've got the offense, I think, that can deal with that to at least keep up with them. So that's how we're going to play it. As usual, guys, as we go through this, if we play any crucial games, we will come back and obviously play them live. But let's continue on and get the first game of the second round completed. So we managed to get a 18-point win there in the first one. Let's have a little look at it. Brandon Clark there with a fantastic performance, 30 points, 10 rebounds, 2 steals. And there you go, look, Trae Young putting up 42 points, Collins putting up 22, but this is the crucial thing. Nobody else is really stepping up for them. They've obviously got Tim Hardaway Jr. coming off the bench, but nothing else really is a threat for them. So yes, those two players could put up 64 points between them, but if that's the rest of the bench is going to do, then we're going to be comfortable. Not saying it's going to stay like that though, but we'll have to keep an eye on it. But from our performances, we looked really good. Shooting was good. The outside shooting was positive. We had a really good, strong performance. Bench looked like it came into its own. Really good. Payton's numbers looked a little bit down on shooting, but that's fine. He got a little bit of foul trouble as well against Trae Young, which is not surprising. But if there's anyone who can kind of stop Trae Young, it is Payton with his defensive ability. So let's go on to game 2 and see how that progresses. Can we get ourselves a home court advantage coming out of this one? And we can, in what looked like a really crazy scoring game. I'm guessing that went to overtime. It must have done. Absolutely it did. So we managed to win about 8 points with just both teams' offenses just going absolutely berserk in this one. Jaren Jackson Jr. with a great game, but let's not forget Ben Clark 31 points as well. Leonard 23 points. Just wow, what a game. Trae Young with 55 points and Collins with 45. So they managed to put up 100 points between them, but the rest of the bench and rotation not really doing a lot. But we did get an injury in that one, so we will take a little look. It is Williams who is out for 13 days. Oh, okay. Thankfully, we might not necessarily have to use him, but we will have to put someone else in at small forward if we do need to play any garbage time, and we'll just let Leonard do that for now. So let's move forward. We're on the road here. Can we get a 3-0 lead up against them? We cannot. We lose by 8 points on the road in the first game on the road here against the Hawks. Let's take a little look at it. So yeah, look, they got a little bit more performance out of that rotation, out of that starting 5 as well. But we managed to slow Collins down a little bit. Trae Young still just shooting lights out. So a tough one to take there, but I'm not going to change anything. I still think we can nick one on the road. It was only an 8-point loss. Let's have a look and see how game 4 goes. And we lose game 4 quite convincingly there by 16 points. Wow. Okay, so our defense is not really playing out how we want it to. But they're still getting great inside shots in the paint. Look, they match us on the inside. And getting on the fast break as well. So we have a big game 5 coming up here. Do we want to make any rotation changes? I don't think we do. Do we want to make any strategy changes? I mean, we can go straight man to man and see how that plays out. Basically, there'd be no adjustments. I think we might hit some foul trouble. But let's see if that just gives them a different look and slows them down at home, it might just give us that advantage. Oh, and we lose by 2 points in this one. 2 points at home to the Hawks. Ouch. Points in the paint. Oh, okay. That's killing us. They're just killing us. We managed to slow down the 3-point shooting, but they just managed to beat us in the paint, basically. Okay, and second chance points. Not helping ourselves here, I don't think. Let's have a look. What are we doing in terms of philosophies? That's the thing we need to know. I'm going to slow our pace down a little bit for the next game. We will zone a little bit more. And in terms of strategy, I think we're just going to go back to that passive defensive strategy and not change anything else. So I'm going to gamble here, guys. I'm going to see if we can get ourselves a Game 6 win and pull them to a Game 7. I'm not going to watch it live. I think I just want to see this one play out. Oh, no. Oh, man. Disaster. Disaster. We have crashed out with Trae Young putting up 51 points. Oh dear, guys. So, I'm sorry. I mean, I thought we would pull that one through and have a Game 7 decider, but it didn't look like that was going to be the way. Our nemesis has certainly come back to bite us in the last episode of this Let's Play series now. Unfortunately, we were not able to retain our title. We crashed out, I think, predominantly due to a bit of strategy, but this guy is just phenomenal. I've genuinely never seen anyone as good as this in any draft day sports pro basketball game. I mean, you just can't slow the guy down. He just scores from everywhere. I mean, he literally is over 50% shooting from anywhere. So that draws our season to a conclusion. I mean, we were bundled out in the second round by the Atlanta Hawks 4-2. Let's sim through the season. Let's see who actually wins this year. I'll be surprised if it is not the Atlanta Hawks, given Trae Young's unbelievable performances. But we'll come back after. We'll see who's won. We'll do a little bit of a review, see how the awards have gone in this episode, and draw the Let's Play series to an end. I mean, we did set out what we originally wanted to do, which was to win a title with this Chicago Bulls team. We did do that. We didn't manage to get the dynasty that we were hoping for in terms of winning back-to-back championships. I did feel we had the roster to do it, certainly. But there we go. Let's have a look and see how the playoffs have ended up. So the Hawks end up losing to the Hornets. The Hornets managed to win 4-1 against the Pelicans. Wow. Okay, I did not see that happening. I mean, honestly, I think if we hadn't had the Hawks and we'd have had the Magic, I think we would have won the title. I just think that was just one team that we just didn't match up well against. So that kind of draws it to a conclusion in terms of the performances. I mean, recapping our roster and who I felt was sort of the big pieces as part of this championship run, and obviously this failure of a second season after the championship. But I mean, I think the big moves, if I put it down to it, really was the biggest one was certainly the trade that got us Wendell Carter Jr. and Jaren Jackson Jr., which I think was just a huge move for us, moving Markkanen and a first round and a second round pick to get Jackson Jr. and Clark, and then sorry, I should say Clark, not Wendell Carter Jr. But getting those two in was just a huge move. I mean, we basically brought in two of the best young players in the league, I think, in my opinion, who have just took this team on its back, really. And then obviously we brought in Peyton at the same time, who was originally going to be a stopgap point guard, but he's turned out to be a very, very effective point guard for a championship team just because of his defense and ball handling ability. It's been really, really positive. But for me, the big piece that kind of took us over the edge, really, to going from being a good playoff team to being that contender was the free agency signing of Kawhi Leonard. I think that was the piece that for me just did just enough for us to get over the line. I mean, see how good he is in terms of performances. And yeah, so I guess that kind of draws the series to a conclusion, and I hope you've really enjoyed following it along and seeing how it's gone. And we've had ups and downs, we've had successes, and now we've had even more failure as we end the Let's Play series. But let's just move on a little bit. Let's get ourselves past the draft lottery, and see just what the awards were. See if whether we've won any awards this year. Let's have a little look. So, in terms of individual awards, Anthony Davis has taken MVP and Player of the Year. Wendell Carter Jr. won Sixth Man of the Year. That's awesome to see. Schneider won Coach of the Year, which is surprising given we won more games than the Jazz, but there we go. In terms of first team, we have nobody on the first team. We have Leonard on the second team, which is great. Awesome to see that. Third team, do we have anyone? Nope. So we're sort of still being a little bit shunned on these awards. Defensive, we have no one on the first team, nobody on the second team, and clearly we're not going to have any rookies because we just we didn't have anyone who was sort of that higher caliber coming out of the draft for us in this Let's Play series this year. So that brings everything to a conclusion. A lot earlier than I had anticipated. I really thought we'd get to a game 7, but it just didn't happen. We'll have to have a think about what is going to come up next on the channel. I have thoroughly enjoyed playing with the Chicago Bulls roster, and it's been really a really fun challenge, taking a team that really was in a difficult situation and being a historic franchise and bringing them back a title that they hadn't won for a very long period of time. Was fantastic to look along and just enjoy the ride, really. But I guess we can end it in a positive note in the sense that we won 61 games on the season. We were the best offensive team in the league, but we just fell short in terms of our matchup, and that's the way it goes sometimes. Guys, I'm really interested to hear your thoughts in terms of how you enjoyed the Let's Play series, or if more importantly, if you've got an idea for a next Let's Play series, be it within Draft Day Sports Pro Basketball, or maybe another game or another idea. I'm always interested to hear your thoughts. I would love to run another series of some sort as well. So please send them in, drop your comments down, hit that like button if you've enjoyed the episodes, and you can always subscribe. But for when the next series comes along, we will certainly be back, probably with another Pro Basketball, but we'll certainly see what happens. And yeah, that draws the series to a close. And I'm sure if we played it back, we would maybe have won that championship. Who knows? But I hope you enjoy the ride.